One gentle push and splash, you're born directly into a muddy forest pool in West Africa. No cozy nest, no dry land, just straight into murky brown water that smells like rotting leaves and crocodile breath. Your mom gives you a quick nudge upward because apparently nobody told her that newborns can't swim. You flail your tiny flippers, which are supposed to be legs, and somehow make it to the surface gasping for air. Your first breath tastes like swamp water and disappointment. You paddle frantically toward the muddy bank, looking like a furry beach ball having a panic attack. Mom watches you struggle for a bit, then casually wades over to help. Thanks for the assistance, Mom. You finally crawl onto a patch of squishy mud and immediately sink halfway into it. Welcome to the jungle, where even the ground tries to swallow you whole. Your mom's about the size of a large pig, which makes her the family giant compared to your regular hippo cousins who are basically living tanks. You're more like a living golf cart. She's already eyeing the thick jungle around you because this place is crawling with leopards, crocodiles, and other things that think baby hippos are walking appetizers. Those first few weeks are spent learning the basics. Step 1. How to hold your breath underwater without panicking. Step 2. Figuring out which end of a plant you're supposed to eat. Your teeth are tiny but sharp, and you spend hours gnawing on roots and fallen fruit while your mom keeps watch. Every splash in the water makes her head snap up. Every rustle in the bushes gets her full attention. You quickly realize you're not built for this jungle life. Your skin is super sensitive and needs constant moisture, so you can't wander far from water. But the water has crocodiles. The land has leopards. Your safest bet is hanging out in the shallow parts of streams, munching on whatever floats by, and hoping nothing notices you. By 3 months old, you've mastered the art of looking pathetic. When danger approaches, you sink down until just your eyes and nostrils stick out above water. You've basically become a furry periscope. This works great until you try it in water that's too deep and end up doing an accidental backflip trying to touch bottom. Your daily routine becomes pretty predictable. Dawn means creeping through the forest looking for breakfast. You're a vegetarian, but finding good plants in a jungle is harder than you'd think. Most of the tasty stuff grows way up in the trees where you can't reach it. So you settle for roots, fallen fruit, and whatever leafy things you can find at ground level. The jungle is loud at night, and that's when the real predators come out. Your mom has taught you to stay completely still when you hear certain sounds. That coughing noise? That's a leopard, and they're excellent swimmers. Those splashing sounds? Could be a crocodile looking for a midnight snack. You learn to sleep with one eye open, which isn't as cool as it sounds. At 6 months, you're still tiny but feeling brave. You start exploring further from mom, which is a terrible idea. Your first solo adventure lasts about 10 minutes before you're frantically swimming back to her, chased by something that definitely wanted to turn you into lunch. Mom just gives you a look that says, "I told you so." The rainy season arrives and everything changes. The streams turn into rushing rivers, your favorite mud holes become lakes, and the forest floor turns into a swamp. This should be great for a semi-aquatic animal, right? Wrong. The strong currents are way too much for your little body. You spend most of your time clinging to rocks and logs, trying not to get swept away. Food becomes scarce because all the good stuff is underwater or washed away. You're constantly hungry, and hunger makes you take risks you shouldn't. You venture closer to the big river where the fishing is better, but that's also where the crocodiles hang out. Every meal becomes a calculated risk between starvation and becoming someone else's meal. Around your first birthday, mom starts acting weird. She's not as protective anymore and sometimes just walks away while you're eating. You follow her around making pathetic squeaking noises, but she's clearly over the whole parenting thing. One morning you wake up and she's just gone. Congratulations. You're officially on your own in one of the most dangerous jungles on the planet. Your first week alone is a disaster. You eat something that makes you sick, get chased by a monitor lizard, and fall into a hole you can't climb out of for 3 hours. You're starting to think this whole independence thing is overrated. But slowly, you figure things out. You find a nice, quiet stream with good hiding spots, and claim it as your territory. At 2 years old, you've grown into a respectable mini hippo. You're about the size of a medium dog, which sounds cute, until you remember that everything else in this jungle is bigger than you. You've developed some solid survival skills, though. You can hold your breath for 5 minutes, you know which plants won't poison you, and you've mapped every hiding spot within a mile of your stream. Your skin has become your biggest challenge. It's thin and needs to stay moist or it cracks and bleeds. You spend half your day wallowing in mud or water just to keep from drying out. When the dry season hits, finding enough water becomes a full-time job. You trek for miles through thorny underbrush, following dried creek beds and hoping to find a puddle deep enough to soak in. By age 4, you're starting to think about romance, which in your case means finding another pygmy hippo in thousands of square miles of dense jungle. The odds are not great. You start leaving scent marks around your territory and making hopeful grunting sounds. But mostly you just sound like a pig with allergies. Then, one day, you catch a scent that makes your heart race. Another pygmy hippo. You follow the trail for hours, crashing through bushes and sliding down muddy banks. When you finally find her, she takes one look at you and immediately disappears underwater. Apparently, your romantic grunting needs work. After several weeks of awkward encounters where she keeps running away, you finally manage a proper introduction. Turns out she's been living in a stream just 2 miles away this whole time. Who knew? The courtship involves a lot of splashing around, showing off your underwater skills, and trying not to accidentally headbutt each other during romantic moments. Success! A few months later, you're expecting a little one of your own. Your mate finds a perfect birthing spot in a secluded pool surrounded by thick vegetation. When your baby arrives, you're amazed at how tiny and helpless it looks. Then you remember you probably looked just as ridiculous when you were born. Parenting is exhausting. Your baby needs constant attention, and you're constantly scanning for threats. Every shadow could hide a leopard. Every ripple in the water might be a crocodile. You barely sleep, and when you do, it's always with your ears tuned for danger. Your mate takes shifts, but there's always something to worry about. Your youngster grows quickly, and before you know it, you're teaching the same lessons your mom taught you. How to find the sweetest roots, where to hide when predators approach, which water is safe to drink. You watch your baby make the same mistakes you made, and you realize this crazy cycle is going to keep repeating. At 8 years old, you're middle-aged for a pygmy hippo. Your skin isn't as elastic as it used to be, and those long treks to find water during dry season are getting harder. You've survived leopard attacks, crocodile encounters, flash floods, and severe droughts. You've raised 2 babies to independence and claimed territory in one of the world's most challenging environments. But your joints ache now, and your reactions aren't as quick. That leopard that's been stalking your territory for weeks is getting bolder. Last night it came within 10 feet of your sleeping spot. You managed to slip underwater in time, but you both know it's only a matter of time. The jungle doesn't care that you've been here for 8 years. It doesn't care that you've mastered every survival skill possible for a pygmy hippo. Nature keeps rolling forward, and younger, stronger animals are always ready to take your place. As you settle into your favorite mud wallow one last time, watching the sun filter through the canopy above, you can't help but think that for all the terror and exhaustion, this weird little jungle life wasn't completely terrible. At least you never had to worry about taxes or traffic jams or figuring out how social media worked.